One is Mr. Parandaman. He is likely to join us in about few minutes. He is our course in charge of BTech.
Okay.
And we also have Mr. Ganapati Rao, who is the course in charge of ETO. So we requested all the course of the 5 people to join us. Apart from that, we'll have
Excuse me.
some more like now you got Bharani Dharan, who is also a faculty. He is sailing second engineer waiting to get his 4 stripes. And you see the other boys, they're all our boys presently studying with us.
Yeah.
Good evening, sir. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening,
So
sir.
many of you. Good evening. Good evening.
Big fan of yours, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so
Sunil
much.
Singh, you recently signed up from Perth to Mumbai via Doha.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, I saw your YouTube. Very nice, fantastic.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Sir.
the time you signed up from the ship, boarding the boat, come to the hotel, departure hotel. Yeah, till you arrive Mumbai. I saw that video. Fantastic, very nice, very helpful to
Thank
our
you.
boys. Those who are planning to sign in and sign off. Very nice.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
So they know, how is the happiness of sign
Yeah,
off.
definitely.
What's the reward of all this hard work? So, yeah.
Oh, good.
I also have one more course in charge of another course, which is the GP course. Captain Anto is also with us, Captain Sunil. Captain Anto, this is Captain Sunil.
Yeah, hi, sir.
Yeah, very good evening, sir. Welcome, most welcome to HIMT for
Thank you, sir.
Today.
Thank you for having me.
Wish you all the best. Yeah, we are very pleasure to have you here with us. Thank you, sir, very much.
Thank you.
Kirtan, we are all set to go 4 o'clock. Shall we kick off?
Yes.
All right. Fine. Good evening, everybody. Good evening, Captain Sunil Singh. All the boys, faculty, the people who are joining this webinar. We kick off anything with an auspicious beginning, and we will start seeking the blessings, invoking the blessings of God. May I now request our team to play the invocation.
Asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityorma amritam gamaya sarvesham swastir bhavatu sarvesham shantir bhavatu सर्वेषां पूर्णं भवतु सर्वेषां मङ्गलं भवतु लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः
Thank you, Lifin. Thank you so much. And may I request each and every one of you to keep your mics muted. When you want to speak, please unmute yourself. Otherwise, it does create a lot of background noise. And second thing is, may I also request each and every one of you to keep your mobiles in the silent mode. And we can do without that because we are going to listen to a man who's passionate about sailing, so he's going to tell you lots of things about what you can expect, what you can do, what you should do, what are do's and what are don'ts. So to kick off further, I'm quite sure Captain Sunil might have seen quite a bit of maritime training institutes. Probably you might have done a course in HIMT, I'm not too sure, but we would like to give you just an overview, a very short overview of what we are, especially our pre-C campus.
Right.
Bear with us to just have a look at our video. Could I have the corporate video, please? Thanks, Liffin. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Actually, Captain Sunil, it would have been a beautiful thing for us to have come down and talk to the boys in person. But thanks to the pandemic, we can't really afford to do it. But I'm quite sure somewhere down the line, we will get an opportunity to do that. And without much ado, I'm going to request a colleague of mine, Mr. Rakesh Kohli, to deliver the welcome address.
Yeah.
Rakesh, over
Thank
to
you. Yeah.
Good afternoon, everyone. I would
Good
like
afternoon.
to first of all welcome Captain Sunil Singh to spare his time to come over, and also like to welcome all the colleagues, students and parents who have spared the time to join here in the webinar. I'm sure this time would be very useful. Knowing Mr. Sunil Singh has a hobby of blogging, and he's an avid YouTuber with a following of more than 60,000. I'm sure it will be useful for everyone. And he's known for giving his frank and good advice and opinion to all the people. I would request
Thank you.
everyone to contribute and make the best use of it. And I would welcome Mr. Sunil Singh once again.
Thank you, sir.
Handing over back to Captain Chandra.
Yeah, okay. Now, it's normally a tradition to introduce the chief guest. But more importantly, I don't think I can do justice to it, nor anybody can do justice to it. So what we have done, we have requested Captain Sunil Singh to give us a small video, which gives an overview of what he is, what has prompted him to do all this, which is doing a fantastic service to the society, especially the marine fraternity. So we are going to play a small video of Captain Sunil Singh, prepared by his own self.
Thank
And
you.
may I request Elephant to play that video, please. Thank you.
I am captain. My passion is sea, sailing, and ships. I love my job as a master. I make vlogs in my free time to spread happiness and a healthy lifestyle. First of all, to all of you guys, thank you for joining in and giving your precious time to this webinar and this live session. I would also like to thank HIMT for having me in the webinar and that I can be of some use to the Merchant Navy fraternity. So this is a really very big thing for me. My introduction, I have started sailing at the age of 19. I did 10 plus 2, 12th, and I did that 2 times because first year I thought I'll not be able to get good percentage in PCM. So I repeated 12th and I got into Merchant Navy immediately after 12th. It took me 3 months to get a sponsorship from Eurasia Ship Management. I did my cadetship of 24 months sailing time. Those days it was 24 months and 4 months for the pre-sea training. As soon as I finished that, I switched over to OMCI because I wanted to be in tankers, and I was 3rd officer, and after 2 ships I got my promotion to 2nd officer, and in the meantime OMCI company was taken over by Tom. So I suddenly became an officer in Tom Shipping. From 2nd officer to chief officer, I had to switch 2 companies to get that promotion after 12 months sea time as a second mate. As a chief mate, I did 27 months with Tom Shipping, and then again I changed my company and I joined a small company, Lily Maritime, on a bitumen tanker. Got my command, did 3 months, and then changed over to World Tankers, did 2 ships, and since then I have been sailing with Anglo Eastern, and I'm very happy. After having 12 months of sea time as a master, I started to think what more. I used to have so much of free time on board, so I started watching some YouTube videos, and I thought even our life is very interesting and we also have some knowledge which we can share. So that was the intention to start this channel on YouTube, and slowly I realized that some people are liking it, so that became a motivation to continue and pursue it. And so far I'm very happy with it. I'm always trying to do something productive instead of just watching movies on board. So that was the intention, but now I just love it and I do it. I very quickly realized that our generation and the generation which is joining Merchant Navy is completely different, because this generation is definitely smarter than us, and they have been brought up with mobile phones, internet and technology. So to reach up to you guys, we need to use it. We need to come to your platform of this technology and social media and make learnings very interesting and motivating. Only then I believe that you guys will be attentive to it and learn something, because it's very easy to get bored in this fast world of internet. So from my side, I like to keep it as interesting as possible, and I like to share whatever I know. It gives me immense pleasure to know if I have saved some guy from falling into the trap of agents, and I have saved his money, I have saved his time. So it has happened a lot with many of the candidates, and they thank me. They get to know the right ways, what to do and what not to do, and that gives me immense satisfaction satisfaction and pleasure. So this is the driving force to continue doing this. And now I am open to all your questions, and I am open to helping in whichever way possible. I will try my best to live up to your expectations. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Captain Sunil. I think
Thank you, sir.
it was a beautiful introduction. I could have never done justice to this, what you have done for yourself. It's beautiful, very simple, and very apt to the occasion. Now, as we all normally know, that when we keep talking to the boys in our college, and this is how it is, this is how the life is going to be, the first thing is a sort of a skepticism which creeps into the mind. This is like something like between a father and a son. The son never listens to the father. "Arey, ye buddha ka aur kuch kaam nahi hai, aisa hi bolte rahega." So we keep listening to it. So we find this a beautiful opportunity, a sailing master at that with a reputed company. So there's nobody else who can, to be very honest with you, more suited to answer their questions. So let me kick off that by asking one of my cadets, our cadets, Captain Abhishek Ray, who is presently in BSc third year, should be passing out and joining a company very soon. And we will kick off with that. And as we go along, we'll take questions even from the others as well, from the audience as well. Abhishek, over to you. You can ask your question. Unmute yourself and ask the question, Abhishek.
Good evening, sir. I am Abhishek,
Good evening.
basic final year cadet, sir. So my question is, as we are going to step on board for the first time, so how we can prepare ourselves mentally so that we can maintain a proper balance between job and family?
Yeah, first of all, when you are new, you have to detach from all the attachments you have, You will be going physically on board, but I would love to see you guys going mentally also on board. It is feeling homesick and feeling lonely and feeling, in a completely different environment is absolutely normal. Even I felt that for first few days. So you have to try and detach from your home and just think about the work. Especially when you are new, you are very liable, to make mistakes and injure yourself or meet an accident. So my suggestion is that you have to be mentally on board. And if you really know what to expect, you probably get a very nasty chief officer and who will initially shout on you and who will probably, so you have to ignore these things. These things should not affect your mind. You should, we say that you listen from one ear and let it go out from another ear. So because if you take these things seriously, then you will make bigger mistakes. And when you are new, you are on your first ship, it's not easy for people to start liking you, because probably you have relieved an experienced cadet and who was like a right hand to chief officer, and now he's got a brand new guy who doesn't know anything, and that increases his workload to train you, to teach you everything. So initially, as much as possible, you be attentive to whatever instructions they are telling you, and that should be enough.
Hey,
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah.
Thanks, Sunil. I think one of those things what we learned during our Rajendra days is we used to say, "Got no home, got no friends." It was used to be one of our motto as a Rajendra song. I think very nicely put across. May I now request Cadet Furtado, who is going to be stepping on board as an ETO, to pose his questions to you.
Right.
Yeah, good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Yes, so I'll be soon joining a tanker ship. So on tankers, electrical wise, what is the job responsibility for the trainee ETO initially? And
yeah, are you aware that there will be a proper ETO as well, or you are going to be only trainee ETO on that ship?
So I'm aware that there will be an ETO on board a ship who will give the training for us. So how to go about that? Like when I first step in on the ship, then how to go about that? What kind of training they will give?
Yeah, some companies have just the trainee ETO and they don't have any ETO. Then the life of the trainee ETO is very difficult. But in your case, as you know that there is going to be a proper ETO on board and he is going to train you. So it shouldn't be difficult for you. So the main ETO, you will be of course under the ETO, and he will guide you with your jobs. But initially, don't try to think about your work as an ETO on board. Try to first grab your safety items, safety aspect of the vessel, like familiarizing yourself with the life-saving appliances, firefighting equipment, knowing your emergency duties. So don't hurry and jump on to know your work. First, ensure that you are safe on board and you are not a liability. So familiarize yourself as much as possible. And another thing which I tell new guys, to rest. All of you, when you are new, you need to rest. Forget watching movies for the first 3 months or talking to girlfriend for many few hours and wasting, because now you have internet on board and that facility is available. So initially just give yourself as much rest as possible and try to learn as much as possible. Be attentive, keep asking questions. Now the spoon feeding is not going to be done on board at all. I'm not sure how much HIMT is doing at the institute, but on board people are busy and they are working. So you have to take initiative and ask questions and be safe. And yeah, when you are new, you get that leeway and people know that you are new. So mostly there's nothing to worry about. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Captain Sunil. May I now request Sushit Alva, who is going to be stepping on board as a GME, trainee marine engineer, after completing his GME course with us. Over to you, Sushit. Sushit, can you hear me?
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Hi.
My question to you is, what are the struggles we face on board ship as an engine cadet since we are boarding the ship for first time, and how to overcome with it?
Engine cadet, as such, for the trainees, the difficulty is pretty much the same. Because initially nobody much treat you like a deck cadet or engine cadet or ETO. Everybody, even the trainee OS, everybody treats them like a new guy. Everybody will say he's new, he's a first timer. So mostly you are treated like that. So there is some time for you to get on to your job. But of course, in engine room, you will be taking rounds with your engineers. So try to be safe. Sometimes you get an alarm in the night and you are half asleep. So be careful. Don't just go running down to engine room. Alarms are there for a purpose. It doesn't mean that you have to silent it immediately. So take your time and be safe, and the senior engineer will take care of it in the beginning. Engine room is a very hazardous atmosphere. There are many places where you can trip and fall and slip. So you need to be extra careful. Like a deck cadet will probably spend some time on deck and he will also keep watches. But in your case, entire engine room, is very noisy, and proper PP, I would suggest PP. It's never enough how much we emphasize on protective equipments, especially to new guys. Always ensure to have your 6 PP with you. 6 PP, I mean to say, is your coveralls, your goggles, your helmet, your earmuffs, your safety shoes, and your gloves. So these are the minimum things you need to have with you all the time. Right.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Captain Sunil. I think a point which I missed out to the audience is, whenever you have a question, you can put it as in a chat, send it across to questions, and we will definitely take up those questions one by one. Thanks for reminding me, Mr. Kirtan. It just slipped out of my mind to put it across to the audience. Moving on further, may I now request, we have GP ratings as well. And may I request now Cadet Francis to put his question across to you, Captain Sunil?
Right.
Francis, are you there? Right. Cadet Abu Tahir, maybe you can put across the question. He is also from the GP. Abu?
Yeah. Good evening. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
My name is Abu Tahir, sir, and I got placed in Goodwood Ship Management from the HIMT College. And I am going to join the ship with the trainee OS.
Okay.
So, sir, my question is that if a trainee OS wants to become an officer, so what are the difficulties he will face to clear CSC exam? And does company gives opportunity to become an officer from the rating? Thank you.
Yeah, this is a very good question. Yes, when many years back, like 5, 6 years back, I have had many of the ratings who cleared their exams and then they joined as a third mate. But because of the surplus of officers who are, coming from after cadetship, there is a very remote chance that any company will hire somebody from a rating background. I also know many of the guys who have been ABs for 36 months. Then they went to UK, they cleared their COC, they spent so much time and money. And again, after doing with license, they are again sailing as an AB. So these things can happen. So technically it is possible. On paper, you will ask, anybody will tell you that, yes, you can become officer from rating. But practically to get a job, it is almost impossible in current situation. I'm sorry to say this.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Abu, I mean, actually, okay, carrying on. What Captain Sunil is telling you is the reality as on today. Is it going to change tomorrow? We don't know.
Yeah, we don't
so
know.
that's what is he trying to say. He doesn't want to give you a sort of hope that tomorrow, 6 months or 12 months down the line, you're going to become an officer. But I would very strongly advise you, you must keep up the hope. As he rightly said, if you join as an AB back with your second mate's license, it's only a question of time. You're there in the right place, you might still get it. Right? Moving on forward, may I now request Cadet Shubham Kumar. Now, one of the things we do have in this sort of setup is we do have ranks over here. So starting with cadet captain, or junior cadet captain, the senior cadet captain, and the chief cadet captain. So we happen to have rather senior cadet captain Shubham. So only thing is when they step on board, normally we tell them, boss, you're still a cadet. You're just an ordinary cadet. But they go with a chip on the shoulders is what they say. Probably he would like to ask you something on that. Over to you, Shubham.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
I am Subham Kumar, BTech final year, soon going to join the TME. So my question to you is that when we will join as a TME on the board, if any of the senior is telling me to do a job that is unsafe, that as we are knowing that this job is unsafe, in that condition, what sort of things I have to do to complete the job?
Yeah, first of all, there is a hierarchy on board. There are seniors, there are juniors, but when it comes to safety, everybody is equal. So you have to treat yourself that way. If a senior officer is telling you to do something, it is also his job to ensure and to make you understand that the job is safe. And in any way, when you have a doubt, you can always refuse it. Probably the senior officer will shout on you, and he will not like that junior is questioning me. But nothing is more important than safety. You don't have to follow unless you are yourself satisfied. And having said that, I will also say that because you are new, you will be not in a completely a good position to judge if this job is safe or not. So when in doubt, my advice is that always ask, don't hesitate, and don't think that he's a chief engineer, I am just a TME, how can I question him? So these things, at the end, we all want to go in the same way back home, the way we joined the ship.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thanks a lot, sir. Thanks a lot.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Captain Sunil. And probably, Swastik, you want to follow your batchmate asking something on engineering to Captain Sunil? Go ahead, Swastik.
Yeah.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
And good evening to everyone present in this webinar, sir. I would like to ask questions, sir. What in the document which has been given by the company, sir, what things we have in that, sir? And in second thing is that what document which we have to carry from our side, sir?
Yeah, so our side documents, you have to carry all your certificates, your passport, your CDC, and all this yellow fever and all the certificates you are being given from your institute. Basically, your 4 basic courses. And if you have done a course on security, then carry that as well. And if you are having doubt about something when you are new, whether to carry or not, then just carry it. This is again a good question. Apart from this, also carry your important books. because not all companies have a good library on board where you'll find all your books. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you.
And
Thank you
secondly,
so
sir,
much.
what things?
Yeah, go ahead.
Sir, what things which we have to check? Documents which has been given by the company, sir. In things, what things we have to check, sir, in that?
See, on board we carry documents because this is verified by PSC inspectors in port. So flag state, whichever flag state ship you are joining, company will process your flag state document. So you don't have to worry about it. Company will just give you that document, or they will give you a CRA for the certificate which is applied. So from my side, from your responsibility is to carry your passport, CDC, and your 4 basic courses. And in case you are joining any tanker, then the dangerous cargo endorsement, the basic one, which you will get. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you,
That's
sir.
it. Yeah.
Moving on further, we have one cadet who is also a bodybuilder. And I'm quite sure he has got something to ask you. How do I maintain my body on board? Here is Mr. Jagannathan, who is a GME cadet who will be joining the ship as a trainee marine engineer. Over to you, Jagannathan.
Yeah. Hi. Yeah.
Myself, Jagannathan, and I did GME in HIMT college.
Yes.
And my question is that, being a cadet for the first time, I'm going to sign on. And if I'm supposed to having seasickness, and what will be the medication they will give, and what will be the duration that I can overcome from the seasickness? And during my seasickness, what, how the other crew will treat me? Like.
Yeah. Okay. So your question is about the seasickness. Yes, that's very normal for a new guy to feel seasick. So we always have a proper hospital, almost hospital on board with the medicine as specified in the flag state document. All those medicines will be on board. So we also have anti-seasick tablet. So of course you can have that tablet, but the best way to get over this is, what we do is we keep these guys for a few hours on the bridge wing and let him see the sea and vomit for few times, and that's how you'll get used to it. And if you are busy, and don't stop eating, that is my suggestion to you. You will not feel like eating anything, but don't stop eating. Continue eating, continue vomiting, and you should be over it.
Okay.
Absolutely. To add to this, during our younger days when I sailed, normally what they used to do is when the vessel starts pitching, they put the brand new cadet out in the forecastle where you get the maximum effect of pitching. So whatever you got in your guts, it comes out. And as he rightly pointed out, never ever stop eating. It's just a question of time before your body gets used to it. Moving on further, I've got one more cadet of HIMT before we move on to the audience. There are quite a bit of questions coming in. I've got Cadet Preetham Samal from the BSc. And Preetham, please go ahead and ask your question.
So how do we?
Yeah, you are muted, Preetham.
How do we prepare ourselves for the ship timings, especially for the night watches as a cadet?
Okay, as a cadet, as far as I know, you guys keep watches in your institute as well, at least 2 hours. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yeah. So it's going to be similarly. So institute already train you for the ship's environment. All the good institute, they train you for as much as possible, to provide you a similar atmosphere what you will get on board. So your biological clock will adjust to the watch timings. And as you are an engineer, and sometimes you will have to wake up in your off time also. They're not gonna be fixed times. Whenever there's now you know that all the ships are unmanned UMS ships. So whenever we have alarm, you have to go and attend that. So that's how it is, and you will get used to it. You will not even realize, and you will get used to these timings because you will be so busy on board.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Now maybe it's time to move on to the audience, Captain Sunil. Now I got one from Naukit Sadaf. Sir, what is your view? May I request Naukis Sadaf to identify himself? It's possible to raise your hand. Sadaf, if you're there in this thing. Okay, maybe I asked that question in case he comes back, then we should be able to do it. His question is, what is your view to tackle with service charges asked by an agent for the sake of jobs? As far as I experienced, no company declares vacancy, but for the same company, agents can provide the job within. Over to you, Captain Sunil.
Yeah. I'm completely against this agents and paying money to these agents. In all across my videos, this is the first thing which we suggest. And imagine if none of us pay to agents, then these agents won't survive. But the thing is, we all think about our personal benefit and not as a united for the full entire industry. But going to an agent is a very dangerous thing and completely incorrect thing to do, because even if you pay him once, there is no guarantee that now you are okay. For the second ship, you may have to pay him again. And none of the reputed companies hire from the agents. You go follow your right channels, and you should get it. And for any reason, if you are still not able to get into this merchant navy, then I will never suggest to join merchant navy in a wrong way, going to agent and paying money. Instead, consider doing something else. That will be, in fact, better than going to agents, because then your struggle will never be over. And probably you will do one contract and then again you will wait at home for a year or so. So it doesn't make sense.
Thank you, Captain Sunil.
Yeah.
There's one gentleman who is asking, I'm in my final year BE Mechanical Engineering. Is it a good choice to do GME? Do we get job opportunities?
Yes, for GME and Deck Cadets, don't do any course without sponsorship. You have to have a sponsorship from a very good reputed company, and then you do the courses. I know about my company, the waiting period for GME and Deck Cadet is maximum 2 months. Once their all documentation is clear, within 2 to 3 months, they are getting shipped. Yeah.
Fine. Now, somebody is asking me, Mr. Amal Krishna, how is this corona going to affect the vacancies and opportunities for junior officers?
Yeah, this is again a good one. There's a proper video on this on my channel. You can probably see that one. How will the merchant navy going to be? Should you join after corona? So I will just answer in brief. Everything stopped due to corona. Entire world stopped, but ships didn't stop even for a day. Crew change was stopped, but vetting inspections were stopped, PSC was stopped, but bunkers never stopped, provisions never stopped. So everything what is needed to run a ship was working. So this proves us even better that no matter what, ships never stop. So if ship never stop, we'll never lose our jobs. It's just that you need to be working for a good company, and once corona settles down, again we will have demands. I know for a fact that tankers were not affected so much, but containers and bulk carriers were affected. Affected means they didn't get business, but they were not unmanned. They were still manned, and still sailors have a job on those ships. One adverse effect happened was that because the crew change was not possible in India, some of the companies and ships went to Chinese and Filipinos, but this is a temporary measure, and standards of Indian officers and Indian ratings is rated very high across the industry, and more jobs are going to come to us in future. This is what I think. May not be 100% true here, right?
Thank you. How hard is it for an engineer to switch from container to tanker as a third engineer?
Switch from tanker?
Yeah, from container to tanker. For a third engineer, how difficult it is?
Yeah, it is. It's just about getting an opportunity, right place at the right time. There's no fixed answer to it. But
for everybody who wants to switch their type of ship, I would suggest that do it as early as possible. After cadetship or after GME training, you decide what kind of ship you want to become chief officer or second engineer, and then you continue on those type of a ship, because switching to different type of ship is not going to help you in long run, and it will delay your promotion to management level officers.
Right, I agree with you. Even during our times, we could not switch over after you become a chief officer. It was very difficult because you are specialized. Now it's a day of specialization, and it's becoming worse day by day.
Right.
Now, what are the difficulties faced by a trainee seaman? It's one of the questions asked by Sri Hari. Yeah.
Yeah, trainee seaman will be under bosun. So it all depends what type of bosun he gets. If he gets a good understanding bosun who will realize that, you know, he's a new and he'll give you a leeway and he'll train you, or probably put you straight away to nasty jobs. But be prepared for it. And one good thing has happened is that from our time now, MLC is in picture, and people take this work rest hours seriously. I mean, most of the companies and most of the officers, we have to take it seriously because it is verified by PSC. So this work rest hour is a good regulator, which will prevent you from working extra long hours, which will make it unsafe for you. But again, I'm repeating myself, try and rest as much as possible, and whatever jobs is given to you, try to do it. Try to impress people at the beginning. First impression can be your last impression, and then probably they will treat you better.
Now you talk about the rest. I've got one gentleman asking me this question. How often do we get a chance to go out of a port to roam around the city as deck cadet and higher rank also?
Oh, shore leaves, yes. Since the Twin Towers exploded in America, we came with a new regulation, ISPS, and that already regulated the shore leave, and shore leave was already minimized a lot. And now with this Corona, this was my first ship where from sign on to sign off, I never stepped out from the ship. Not only me, many of the friends I know. So shore leaves, just forget about it. But in general, if the Corona situation improves next year, and if you're really into shore leaves, then bulk carrier will be the best ship for you, because bulk carriers stay longer in port. Tankers stay about 24-30 hours, and it's normally very hectic. Containers even less, and they do a lot of multiple berths in same port. So this is how it is, and don't expect too much of a shore leave. You need to be very lucky to get to go out few times in your contract.
That was a question from Sri Hari. I also have a question from Tanzil Sheikh. How much is the scope for an ETO in the future?
Yeah, ETO demand was very high a few years back, especially when they have started a COC for ETO. So all the older ETOs who didn't have COC, many of them quit. In fact, in my company, I sailed few ships without an ETO. But now that's not happening. Now ETOs are coming out from training institute, and they're all getting jobs. So demand is going to be there, you know, like it is now. Yeah.
All right.
Can't. Yeah.
But don't you think, Captain Sunil, I mean, the way that things are moving around and the way that technology is moving about,
yes,
the need for people with more and more technical knowledge, especially with electric and electronic, is going to be on the increase in the days to come. Don't you think that that's going to be the way forward?
Yeah, especially like ETO. I was with Tom Shipping, and we didn't had a ETO on board. The engineer used to handle the ETO part, you know. So even today in some of the Danish companies like Maersk, they don't have an ETO on board. But then the ships are maintained like that. The ships are well built, and they are well, you know, preparedness is very high on those ships. Ships are in good condition, so there are not too many breakdowns, and they are able to manage without an ETO. Okay. But most of the management companies still have ETO. Yeah.
I have one question from Mr. Anurag Kumar.
Yes, sir.
The recent oil spill happened in Malaysia, and we came to know the captain got arrested.
Yes.
Do you think that the arrest should be done? What will you do in that situation?
Yeah, oil spill is one of the offenses, and the problem is that ships are sailing in high seas, and they are not governed by any country. Now, if you do a oil spill in Malaysia, then Malaysian rules regulations apply on you because your ship was in Malaysian waters. So, in any case, when the oil spill happens, it is very normal for them to take somebody from the ship in jail. It is mostly captain and one officer with him. It will be either chief officer or chief engineer with him. So this is the responsibility which is on your shoulders, and as long as it's a mistake, probably you will get away with it, but never hide anything. Sometimes we do intentionally doing something wrong, like illegal discharging anything into sea. These things are taken very seriously, and then you'll probably be gone for many years. But if it's a mistake, then a genuine investigation will be done, and then you will be off.
Right. Thank you. Now I have a question from Ginu Regi. Sir, what will be the work of an engine cadet on board till the end of his or her sailing?
Yeah, cadets, in your job description, you won't find too many of the work, but you end up doing many things. Again, it all depends on your second engineer and chief engineer, but normally junior engineer assist second engineer in his paperwork, in getting the logbooks, and moving things around if you have to give something to somebody. And if you need to be lucky to get an engineer who will allow you to touch machinery at the beginning. Sometimes as a junior engineer, they don't even allow you to do anything alone, and when you come as a fourth engineer, then you are not that much confident. So your life will be dependent on that, but I will suggest that you try and do hands-on work, and familiarize each machinery yourself. And especially don't worry about your sleep if some special maintenance is going on. There are many engineering jobs which are not done every day. They're probably done once in your contract. So if something special is going on, then definitely be around there and try to gain as much experience as possible. And what I have been doing is, from my third mate times, I maintain a diary, and there are many things which you don't learn in books, but you learn from your good officers and your practical experience on board. So those type of things which are not from book, I keep writing and I keep accumulating with me, so that your entire experience is always with you.
I think that's a beautiful advice you have given to the budding seafarers.
Right.
I learned it, I was told later on in my life that you must carry a notebook in your pocket, like what you talk about the protective equipments, rather PPEs. Apart from that, this is one of the things you start noting down those things which are very important. As you rightly said, you don't get to know from the textbooks, and they come very handy later on. Now that you talked about an engineer cadet till the end of his, from SJ there is another question. What kind of, this is probably similar questions. Sunny Verma and from SJ. What kind of a problem faced by cadets who freshly got COC and willing to join the ship as a junior officer or an officer in new company? This is obviously an extension of what you said. If as a cadet, you're not allowed to learn, you're not allowed to touch many things, but when you come as an officer, you are expected to know it. So it becomes a difficult of catch-22 situation. So how do you handle that, I think is what he's trying to put across to you.
Yeah. Then now you are in rank. You will be expected to keep watches, and you will be asked to do independent work. So you have to put in that extra effort and extra time into learning the task which you are expected out of you. Because see, as an officer, if you are not doing your job, that means either second engineer has to keep watch with you, or third engineer has to keep watch with you. Same goes for deck side also. If a junior officer is there, then a chief officer has to do extra time. So nobody is going to like that. So my suggestion is that don't worry about everything on board. Prioritize. Make a list, prioritize and learn and understand the immediate things which is expected from you, like keeping safe watches. you don't have to worry about the maintenance at the beginning. Just try to be safe and carrying out, writing correctly logbooks, making entries, and keeping your watches, and how to treat your motorman with you, and how to treat your crew with you. And these are the things which are expected immediately from you. So just concentrate on these things and it will make your life easy.
There is a question probably I'm quite sure you would be very happy to answer.
Yeah.
How can a deck cadet be a good cadet? What does the chief officer expect from a deck cadet?
Yeah. We expect him to understand our orders, and chief officer, a good cadet is a chief officer's right hand. You know, right hand means everything chief officer doesn't have to worry about. If a job is given to him and chief officer is relaxed that if this cadet will do it properly and I don't have to verify him, and that is how you can be a good cadet. And initially, depending upon your type of ship, try to learn from the plans, making line diagrams and seeing in the plans. That way you can familiarize yourself faster, and keep asking doubts. And you have to be smart. You can't be, if you do the same job which is expected to be done in 30 minutes and you do it correctly in 2 hours, then that's not enough. So you have to work efficiently as well.
There's one question which is rather asked over here is by one of the boys.
Yeah.
You did mention about not only take your physical self on board, take your mental self too.
Yeah.
So here is a gentleman asking me, Avinash Rao, how to handle a situation when you hear that your parents are not well or probably dead.
Yeah.
Can you please explain this properly, how to take life as it comes and move on board?
Yeah. See, at the end, you can't achieve anything without help or support of your family and your friends. What instructions I give my family and go on board is that, if there's something bad, then initially, not now, but when I was new, they don't tell me on board, because the thing is, from ship I can't do much, and those days were not even easy to come back home. So this is what I tell my family, that when I am away, try to manage everything on your own. And yes, if there's an out of box situation where there's something real emergency has happened at home, then just discuss that with your seniors, and whoever is your best friend on board, try to discuss and release your stress. And if you think it is absolutely necessary to go back home, then put that message across, and then probably from next port you'll be able to go back home. But you have to be a good seafarer is always very strong physically as well as mentally, and any news like this should not upset you and make you do some mistakes on board which can result in an injury or accident.
Right. Now, of course, who freshly got COC and willing to join us as a junior officer in a new company. Now, this is something very similar to what was asked as an engineer going and joining. So you have a cadet who is stepping on board for the first time as a third officer. What would you expect as a master is something which people would like to ask.
Yeah. So third officer, a brand new third officer, captain will expect him to keep safe bridge watches. See, your COC doesn't say that you are new. The moment you have license, you are legal to keep independent watches. So a master will expect you to keep safe watches. Chief officer will expect you to keep safe watches in the CCR. So learn these things well. I'm sure when you join as a third officer, as a cadet, you have already kept bridge watches. And normally what my experience is that a new third officer never has any problems on bridge or in navigation. And for navigation, but cargo operations, yes, because sometimes the ship type is new, the systems are new. So try to familiarize that very well. And as I already said, refer to the plans, ask questions, ask your second officer or chief officer. And the one thing which is trained in all the institutes and BTM courses and everything,
call master. So that is absolutely the right thing to do. Call master. In any doubt, probably he'll come on bridge, shout on you, but you have done the right thing. In his heart, he will know that this guy has called me, and he will appreciate that later. Probably you have disturbed his sleep, but don't hesitate to call your seniors, because we don't want to run aground or collide. There is no problem calling a few times extra than not calling when it is needed. It is really needed. Same thing goes for CCR. You can call the chief officer and never hesitate. They like it or not, but you should not hesitate.
Right. So the question, that answer what would be is, please, if you are in doubt, call your senior. I think that's a mantra, what we have been told, and you should practice it.
Right.
Right. There's one Mr. Navaneet Ramanan who is asking me this question. I got sponsored by Fleet Management, sir, and I'm going to do the DNS in ARI. Give me few tips on how to complete the course successfully.
DNS is a 1-year course. If your subjects interest you, you will not even realize that you have to learn. As I already said in my introduction, that I have done 12th twice, because I never liked those subjects in my 12th standards, and I was hardly interested in studies. But as soon as I joined my pre-seed training in ARI, the subjects, chartworks, meteorology, and ship stability, I started loving these subjects. So if you go that way, you will definitely like it, and it's not going to be difficult to do DNS. And moreover, DNS course you are doing with other candidates. It's not a ship where you are just only one cadet alone. So you shouldn't have any problem doing your DNS. You have been selected to do the course. That means you are capable to do a cadet's job. You have already proved that. So just relax and just go with the flow.
Thanks so much. There's one Mr. Manoj Patil who is asking, none of the companies take exams on all India level to recruit cadets except Synergy. Yeah. At this point of time, what should a cadet do who's ready to join a ship but he doesn't have a ship? How to approach the companies now? Could you throw some light?
Yeah, this is a very difficult situation for the candidates who have already done their training and no sponsorship. Because most of the good companies, they select their own cadets, give them sponsorship, and then they send them to their desired institute to do the training. But a few days back, Captain Parashar has also tweeted and asked, to raise our voice for all these cadets who have finished their training and who have no ship. But this is something which DG has to do. They had given a circular, but it is still not implemented as yet.
Right. Yeah. That's another rather a tricky one. What you're going to do, I don't know. What about autonomous ships? Will it affect our jobs?
Yeah, this is again a very good question, because definitely a guy who's trying to join today, he should be thinking about next 20 years. So I have also attended many of the training and many of the seminars in my company. And many people are saying autonomous ships, but to make it cost effective, it's not coming in near future. Ship is made of iron. It requires a lot of maintenance. And autonomous ships have been already tried, but they have been tried in a coastal trade, and they are already facing a lot of problems. To make it sea-going ships across the Pacific, across Atlantic, it's not going to be in near future, is what I say. But cannot be very certain about it.
Okay, fine. I think that is something where none of us can really give a very concrete answer to that, whether it is going to be a reality. It will be a reality, probably yes. Maybe 30 years down the line, even though they have kept themselves a timeline of 2030, with all the possible things, it's very easy to stimulate and then say that this is how it is going to work. But probably it's going to be really difficult. There's another question which quite a lot of youngsters have asked. That's why I'm not able to read out the names.
Yeah.
As a master on board a ship, would you prefer a DNS cadet? Would you prefer a BSc cadet of nautical science? Whom would you prefer to have it as a fresh cadet?
Very good question. I would prefer a DNS cadet, and the reason is that I believe that the maximum you learn on board. BSc cadets have to do a sea time of 12 months, whereas DNS cadets have to do a sea time of 18 months. And DNS cadets, when they come on board, they are younger than BSc cadets. And what we feel, the younger is better, because young guy, we can mold him in whichever way you want. We can train him. Once you are like 22, 23-year-old or 24, it may not be true for everybody, but in general, then it is difficult to train them. If you remember earlier days, even for Indian Navy and for military also, the age limit for officers for NDA used to be less than 20 years. And even when I joined my pre-sea training 4 months, that time also, if you crossed 20, there was no way you could join. But I think probably for making money or something, they have opened up so many ways to join merchant navy now. At any age you can join. But if you ask a sailor, we prefer that a young guy gets his basic training and straight away put on board, so that we can continue with his training on board. This is what we prefer.
Yeah, one of the reasons which has come about of late, Captain Sunil, if I may share it with you.
Yeah, sure.
Now, my predecessors probably sailed till they retired as a seagoing master.
Right.
Now, my generation probably came in the middle of 30s or early 40s, and we want to make a career ashore.
Right.
That generation, like probably yours or even the younger ones, they would like to come out probably after 7 to 10 years. That means you are trying to build up a career ashore after finishing with your sea life or sea career.
Yeah.
Now here, the moment you step ashore, one of the basic ingredients what everybody looks for is a graduation, whether you like it or not. Now, just to share it with you, if you want to do probably a PhD, which is becoming more and more mandatory and necessary for you to be in the faculty field. If you want to enroll yourself for a PhD to do your research, the first question that is asked is, do you have your graduation? Do you have your post-graduation? Now, you'll be very surprised. Way back in '95, I tried to get into an open university of Indira Gandhi. I wrote the entrance examination. I wanted to enroll myself in masters. I passed the examination. They refused to give me an admission. They were ready to give me only for a diploma. Only on that particular count, this BSc becomes a sort of a stepping stone for most of the boys, including the BTech, to proceed further when they step ashore. That gives them a stepping stone or a springboard for them to take off the next career ashore. That's the only difference. As you rightly said, 16 was the age when my predecessors went on board. Then it became between 18 and 20. Now you got up to 25. I mean, it's there. As they say, you can only bend a bamboo when it is very fresh and tender, not when it is old and matured and then it starts breaking. I fully agree with you.
Right.
And okay, somebody has asked me a question called, Krish Tandal, can you please post this class recording on internet? It is there in the YouTube. It will be there posted in the YouTube and the HIMT. You're free to ask. Now let me check up. Is there anything? Okay, there is one question which I'm quite sure all the youngsters have. What if seniors are not clearing out doubts, or they are ignorant as well as rude to us when we step on board? How do we tackle this?
You will never have a situation where all the seniors are rude and none of them are cooperating. You'll probably have a situation where some ship master is very rude or a chief officer is rude, but it's not going to happen that master, chief officer, second officer, third officer, everybody is rude to you. So you have to just bear him for that many months. And as you know, senior officers only have a few months contract, so he'll be gone.
And in merchant navy, from my experience, I can tell you that everything balances out. One ship you'll get a nasty master, another ship you'll get a good master. So these are the things and these are the hazards which you have to train. Imagine a guy working ashore and he has a bad boss, then he is his bad boss forever. But that's not going to happen in merchant navy. He's going to change. So just try to ignore him and try to be, good to him as much as possible. And if he's not guiding you, not training you, there are others who can guide you. It's not that you are a deck officer and a chief engineer cannot guide you, so don't hesitate to, even as a deck officer or deck cadet, to ask your doubt to an engineer. You will be surprised that probably an engineer will answer and clear your doubts in a better way.
Thanks, Captain Sunil. I think that's very well put. There is a question: how to start our own shipping company after becoming an experienced captain? Can you please throw some light?
Yeah, I think this is the toughest question of this evening for me because as you know, I have no plans to quit sailing. I'm going to continue to sail forever. So never ever thought about opening a company. But yeah, if somebody's asked, then try to be united, try to catch hold of 4 or 5 captains, good friends, and try to invest together. And probably that will be the right thing to do.
Okay. Now, maybe I will throw some light on this. I have known a couple of my friends and a couple of my seniors who had started this particular aspect of becoming, I mean, it's a natural progression. You have become a master and you want to become an owner of a ship. But I would like to give you, I would rather play a devil's advocate on this. A good master need not be a good ship owner. Please understand this, because shipping is a commercial venture. When you are a master, you are a professional, you look at it from a professional point of view. The moment you move over to an entrepreneur, you want to make money, it is a different ball game. So please try to get yourself absolutely clear as what you want to do. Do you want to be a professional or you want to be a businessman? It's not a difficult thing to do, but I've known masters, excellent human beings, but I have failed as a ship owner. Now, for the simple reason, you don't understand the difference between a professional and an entrepreneur. That's so. Lots of us have failed in this. Now, you also have one more question from Chandrakumar Tiwari. Yes. If a person is sponsored and the company is telling to sign a bond of 5 years after COC,
yeah,
what can we do in such a case?
Just sign the bond. What is the harm in that? Because when you are young, better to be with one company, and especially in these times when other company may not hire you at a junior rank, and this is something which you would have agreed to them at the beginning. So later on, you can't do anything about it, right?
Right. There's one good logic. I don't know whether what's the name of the person.
Yeah.
Now, given that merchant navy pays good, I have two questions. Number one, what is the best time to retire from sailing? And due to Corona, are salaries reduced like other jobs now?
Yeah. As of now, salaries have not reduced, and looking at the current situation, I don't expect also that salaries will reduce. Salaries will not reduce on tankers, at least, because the demand is there. And about bulk carriers and containers, probably salary would reduce, but not by a big margin, because this Corona is something which is a temporary thing. It is not going to reduce the demand once things normalize. So I don't think. And you also said that what is the perfect age to retire? This each one has his own plans and how they invest and how much they want to earn.
But on an average, I think that if you are 10 years in command, probably you get up your command or a chief engineer rank at the age around 33, 34. Then 10 years, 44, 45, you should finish all your liabilities. And after that, you should start to save and prepare for future. So my suggestion is just that don't buy these expensive cars and a house wherein you have to pay a very large EMI, and then you'll be struggling. Try to keep your expenses in limit so that you have sufficient money and time to clear your exams. Getting your licenses as soon as possible is the key here, and get your promotions as fast as possible.
I must thank you for all your time. Maybe I will put across just one question.
No problem,
before we close this.
Yeah.
There is a question. Is it only an imagination, or is it a fact that the companies prefer GME over BTech? That's a question which has been put across by somebody. So if you could answer that question, let that be the last one.
Yeah. I don't think so. Different companies prefer different candidates. Just now we were discussing about DNS and BSc, and I said we as an officer prefer DNS. But many shipping companies like Tom, they prefer BSc guys. Similarly for engineers, GME or BTech, it doesn't make a difference. But only advantage the GME guys will have that GME guys do their course, after getting sponsorship. And BTech guy will probably finish his engineering and then look for a shipping company. So this is the difference here.
Fine. I think with your following Captain Sunil, we can keep asking questions till we have breakfast over here, because the questions never seem to be ending. But unfortunately, all the good things come to an end. The only thing I would tell all the participants and the people around, please do put your questions across. If it is very technical pertaining to HIMT, please do send it across. Otherwise, Captain Sunil is there. I mean, he is there in the YouTube. You can ask questions, post questions, where he will be able to answer some more. But on behalf of everyone, I must thank you very much. And this particular way of thanking is just coming from my heart, but I must also do it in a very proper manner. So now may I request my colleague, Mr. Parandaman, to propose the vote of thanks, Captain Sunil.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Over to you, Parandaman.
Good evening to all. This is S. Parandaman. Got the opportunity to propose vote of thanks. On behalf of our institute, HIMT, I thank our honorable chief guest, Captain Sunil Singh, Master Mariner, Anglo-Eastern Shipping Company, for having allotted his valuable time to be a chief guest of this panel discussion on career option in Merchant Navy. Sir, you have cleared plenty of doubts in the minds of our students who are about to join ship soon. In fact, this panel discussion was quite useful not only to the panelists present in the forum, it was helpful to many audiences who are watching this program. I thank the audiences for keenly observing and learning from the discussion. I thank my faculty friends and IT support staff, without whose contribution the program would not have been successful. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Parandaman. Thanks, Captain Sunil Singh. Thanks once again. But I want you to take a rain check. The moment the COVID is over, as and when it is convenient for you, we would love you to come to our Presi campus, spend some time with our boys, and probably give an overview of what is it. I mean, you have been doing it in the YouTube, but nothing like a person talking in, when they see somebody in flesh, as I term, and you whatever answers you have given, it's all from your heart. So we thank you very much on behalf of everybody, and God be with you. Keep safe and keep in touch. Thank you very much, one and all.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Really appreciate it. Even in fact, it was my initial plan to visit your institute and make a video also and spend some time with you, because I'm sure if I visit HIMT, I will also return learning many things from the institute, because we are sailing, but people assume that he's a sailing master, so he knows everything. But that's not true. There's always the other side, and definitely I've already also visited many institutes, and every time I learn a lot of things from new cadets, and I enjoy my time with them. So this was definitely missed out due to Corona. So I would also like to love to visit your institute very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Captain Sunil. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
We will be in touch. Bye-bye.
Yeah, sure. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.